Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. Good afternoon. On today's show, Sancho transfer talks held, a little bit on Luke Shaw and his future as well, and Manchester United clearly are in the market for a forward. We talked about Semenyo this morning, and back on the radar this afternoon is Adeyemi. I know Goldbridge has spoken about him on a few shows, but I think it's safe to say that Manchester United are looking for a forward player. Could be a little bit of a dynamic, versatile type forward, considering we're linked to Semenyo, now Adeyemi. Are they the type of players you want to go for? We're going to touch on that a little bit. And as well, there is a 19-year-old Danish wonderkid midfielder from Porto that Manchester United are eyeing up as a long-term midfield successor. Is he someone that we should go all in for? Quite pricey considering his age, but does that just show the type of talent that he is? And is that a surprise transfer that Manchester United could go for? So, yeah, let's get into it. Get your comments in, get interactive. Any questions you want to ask, make sure you get them in the chat. Thank you everyone for watching. I can already see the comments coming in. A couple people talking about the fact that Twitter is down, X is down. Some people talking about Cloudflare being involved with it. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? But hopefully, while alive on the show today, you can just zone out from the outside world and get into some Manchester United news. So let's start off with Jadon Sancho. So this is coming out from Court Offside, and it is that Manchester United outcast Jadon Sancho appears destined to depart the club at the end of his contract next summer. But there is a scenario which he moves permanently in the January transfer window. So that's the key thing here about Jadon Sancho, is he could move in January, which I think would be good for Manchester United to bring a little bit of money in. Do I think it'll happen? We'll get on to that. So, Court Offside have claimed that there has been discreet but meaningful discussions that have been held between Jadon Sancho's representatives and figureheads from Turkish league clubs Fenerbahce, Galatasaray and Besiktas during the international break. Their report has added that those talks took place at a luxury hotel. While it is unclear which team presented their long-term plans best, it has been stated that Sancho is willing to take a pay cut. The 25-year-old is currently on loan at Aston Villa and is earning more than £13 million per season. I mean, this Jadon Sancho deal just keeps going on and on and on. The saga, the Jadon Sancho saga keeps going on and on and on. I mean, I don't want to harp too much about the past, but thank God we have moved away from that type of deal. When Jadon Sancho came into the club, back in the day, I was super excited. I was really, really excited about that deal. I thought he was going to light it up. But as you grow up, and hindsight's 2020, you look back and you think there were red flags there that we ignored. And I'm glad that we are now not just buying into a player's hype without doing full background checks on them. And I touched on it a little bit in the morning show. Ruben Amorim has a clear strategy when it comes to recruitment. Ineos have a clear strategy when it comes to recruitment. And that strategy is, we are getting good, talented players in, but they are hard workers, they are grafters, they are team players, they have excellent personalities. Every single player that has been recruited under Ruben Amorim has a top personality. Might be slightly different. Cunha's very loud, he's outspoken. You can see he's loud on the pitch. Bryan Mbeumo's a little bit more quiet. But both workhorses, both will do everything they can for the team and are great personalities in different ways. So the Jadon Sancho thing, originally giving him 300 grand a week at that age, at that time, was just ridiculous. But we're here now, and I don't want to harp on about it too long. But the quicker that Manchester United can get Jadon Sancho off their books, the better. The better it is, because just the fact that he's still a Manchester United player is crazy to me, and I don't want Man United to be tarnished with that brush any longer. I cannot wait for him to leave Manchester United, purely for the sake of, I mean, both parties. Jadon Sancho clearly doesn't want to be associated with the club. Manchester United, that transfer has been an absolute fail from start to finish. I mean, would you put it up there with one of our worst ever transfers? What transfer is worse than that? I mean, you could probably name a couple. Is Di Maria worse than that? Alexis Sanchez? I think Alexis Sanchez gave more than Jadon Sancho. I really do. So it's a bad one, and the sooner that he's gone, the better. Do I think he will go in January, though? No. I can absolutely believe that his representatives have had conversations in the international break with Fenerbahce, Galatasaray and Besiktas. I can absolutely believe that. I believe that report, because He's not going to stay at Aston Villa forever. I don't think they'll buy him on a permanent at the end of the season. And he is eventually going to leave Manchester United. Man United are not going to trigger his contract extension to even try and get a fee for him. They'd rather just let him go on a free transfer. Over £70 million and 300 and odd grand a week, and we'd rather let him go on a free transfer, which, by the way, thank you, it's the right thing to do. Pride's not getting in the way. In the past, like we've done with other players, I remember when Eric Bailly couldn't stay fit for more than one game and we triggered a contract extension on him. Same with Phil Jones. We've triggered contract extensions just to protect the value of players and try and sell them. Thank God we're not doing that this time. We've learnt our lesson. We are just saying, look, Sancho, you can go. We're not even going to trigger that 1 year to try and get a fee for you, because all they do is weigh it out and try and get another loan move. Jadon Sancho is clearly desperate to leave on a free transfer. He could have left on a permanent in the summer. Roma were in the race. Other clubs were there for him as well. Jadon Sancho has had multiple opportunities at Manchester United to leave on a permanent deal. Clubs have wanted to pay money for him to go. I think there was a 20 million offer. I think there was a 25 million offer at one point. Roma were definitely well in the race for him. Juve wanted him at one point. But Jadon Sancho did not want to bend on his wages. He would not take a wage cut. He wanted to get the most out of that Manchester United contract that he possibly could, because he's probably not going to get a contract like that ever again in his career. And if he does, fair play, you've got a great agent. But I don't think any club, apart from maybe Saudi, would be offering to pay him anywhere near what we're paying him. So he wanted to get the most money out of the United contract. He's rejected permanent deals in the past. Why, when he's waited all these years, all these months, would he suddenly, in January, go, tell you what, now I'll take a wage cut to get a permanent move to Turkey? It's not going to happen. I believe these conversations have took place. International break is the prime time to do it, because he's not playing for England anymore, is he? Even if he was playing for England, I suppose it's his agents that are doing them talks. But, you know, it's difficult to talk to the player when they're in a camp and when they're away with the national team. But he's nowhere near the England squad and won't be. I mean, if he gets back in the England squad at any point in his career, then fair play as well. Because he was looking like one of the next best English talents at one point and just nowhere near on the radar anymore. So I believe these conversations are happening, but they'll be for when his contract is finished. It won't be for January. So as much as I would like to think that he would leave in the January window and we can, you know, have his name off our books once and for all and kind of forget about that saga, I just don't think that is going to happen. I don't see why he'd wait out this long just to suddenly change his mind literally 6 months before his contract ends, and he can get a signing on fee, he can get a bigger wage than what he would get if he left mid-season. So I don't think that's going to be the case. If I'm wrong, fair play, I'll hold my hands up, but I just don't. It still saddens me that it never worked out. I saw Ole Gunnar Solskjaer talking about it on the Overlap, I think, the other day, saying that he had a bad start to the club because he had an ear infection and all that stuff. And, you know, sometimes you get dealt some bad cards, but it's how you respond to that. It's how you come back from that. And Jadon Sancho had so many opportunities. I think the prime opportunity he had was when Erik ten Hag let him go away and work on himself and work on the problems that he had. And I thought that was the right thing to do. He got welcomed back at Old Trafford with a standing ovation and then couldn't be bothered to put the work in training. And then released that statement against Ten Hag. And Ten Hag did a lot of things that were very, very questionable, but he was right about Jadon Sancho because, I mean, he's, in my opinion, I won't spend too long on it because it's in the past now. I genuinely think there is real talent there with Jadon Sancho, but I think he's wasted it. I don't think he's got the mentality and the appetite to be a top-level player, but he has the capabilities. And that's the worst. It honestly is the worst when you see someone with God-given talent and ability, but they just can't be bothered. And that's I might be wrong, but when I see Jadon Sancho's career, that's what I can see. I think there's definitely talent there. Absolutely. I think on his day he can be a fantastic footballer, but his day doesn't come enough, and I don't think he's put the work in to get to the heights that he could reach. And part of that is probably Man United's fault for giving him so much money so early doors. But still, you know, money, it shouldn't... When you're a true professional and have the drive to be a top-level athlete, you should want to do it no matter what. I mean, Erling Haaland's on 500 grand a week, something stupid like that. I don't know if it's actually reaching 500 grand a week, but it's in and around that figure. And look at his daily routines, look at the graft he puts in, look at the work he does on and off the pitch. He's just a top professional. And so you have it or you don't, and it's a real shame. And I'm not saying Sancho's got the same talent as Haaland, but I do think Sancho has way more talent than what he's shown throughout his career. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Walter White says, Poland love Beth. Thank you very much for your super chat in there. I'm actually just intrigued on what Erling Haaland is on a week. Yeah, 500 grand a week apparently. And look at what he does. I mean, did anyone see his recent YouTube? I know he's a City player and that is frustrating, but just such a likeable character because, and I know he's a City player and I shouldn't say that, but such a likeable character because of the work he puts in and just seems such a normal guy. And yeah, he could be on track for a Ballon d'Or this season, depending on how City do. He's playing that well. So yeah, let's hope Jadon Sancho goes as swiftly as possible, but thinking that he'll leave in January, I'm not sure on that one. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about Luke Shaw. Simon Cox says Sancho is still sat playing FIFA. Probably. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it, that he's probably there playing FIFA when he could be playing for England, but he's just not put the work in. It's mad. Luke Shaw, I want to talk about him. So, the Luke Shaw conundrum. How do you feel about Luke Shaw right now? Because there's been talks held about Sancho, and with Luke Shaw, I wanted to move on to talk a little bit about him. And my question would be, what happens with Luke Shaw when Lisandro Martinez gets back fit? I've got my own opinion on what happens, but I want to ask you guys what your opinion is. So I'll wait for the comments to come in. Would you even think about giving him a contract? Would you even think about extending him? What are your thoughts on Luke Shaw? Because I think this season he's been one of our most consistent players. I think apart from one bad game at the Etihad, he's been fantastic. And he's actually, touch wood, not been injured all season. When Lisandro Martinez comes back, does he take Luke Shaw's place or is he going to have to fight for it? And who's going to be the starter under Ruben Amorim? We're playing one game a week. We are playing one game a week of football currently, and we will be for most of the season. Does Luke Shaw start every game, or does Lisandro Martinez start every game? Because you've got to have one starter. You're going to have one starter each week. And yes, I do think one will come off the bench, one to get match sharpness, two because both of them are good, very good players, and three because both of them are quite injury prone, so Amorim will want to rest them both, vice versa. It's an interesting conundrum because both of them are very, very injury prone players, but in my opinion, both of them are two of our best players in the squad. So who plays? And Luke Shaw at wing back, you can only dream. I think Luke Shaw himself would want to play at wing back. It's whether his body can keep up with that. What do you do? I'd be very, very intrigued to hear what you think. I'm pretty sure Luke Shaw does have 1 year left on his contract, but I'm just going to have a little look at it. He is contracted to Manchester United until June 2027. So I don't think United will be in an absolute rush to offer him a new deal, to be honest with you, especially with his injury track record. For me, with Luke Shaw, park the contract conversation because I don't think we should even be having that yet. For me, a big thing about Luke Shaw is, can you stay fit from now until the end of the season? If he stays fit for a full season, I will take my hat off to him because fair enough, the work that you have done to be able to do that and the fitness team and everything like that. Some people say it's because of England. I've gone over this. It's not. Of course, it's a motivation for any player, but it's not. I mean, you could say the same about Lisandro Martinez. Oh, are you just back fit because the World Cup's coming up with Argentina? It's not the case for either of them. Both of them suffered really bad injuries early on in their careers and therefore they are now injury prone. So if they can stay, we're talking about Luke Shaw here, if Luke Shaw can stay fit, then that's the first main thing I'm going to be looking at. But in terms of where does he play, I think he has to play because I think he's one of the best players in our team. And people won't agree with that. Because of Luke Shaw's reputation, people like to discredit him as a player, but he's a very, very good player. But I think Lisandro Martinez is very well liked by Ruben Amorim, plays the way Ruben Amorim likes to play, and I think it's going to be a tough battle. I do just want to throw it out there. If there's any possibility that Luke Shaw has built up his fitness, I would love to play Lisandro Martinez left-sided centre-back and Luke Shaw left wing-back. That's my dream if Luke Shaw can handle it. Because I think Luke Shaw is the best left wing-back we have in the squad. I think he's the best I think he's got the best crosses coming in from the left on his left foot. And the way he drives up the pitch, I don't know if he can still do it at the level that he has previously, Roberto Carlos, because of his injury problems. But I think if you said to me Manchester United would be able to line up once a week with a back five of De Ligt, Lisandro Martinez, and either Lenny Yoro or Mazraoui, and then Luke Shaw left wing back and Ahmad right wing back, I think that's our best back five. So that is what I would be aiming towards. And you never know. We could see a situation where if Martinez gets back fit and he starts playing well and he gets integrated back into the first team and he can play full games, where Luke Shaw does have spells at left wing back, and then it goes from having spells at left wing back to then building up it doing a full game at left wing back, because they'll be able to switch in game as well. You could have a situation. Say if you're chasing a game, and say Lisandro Martinez is at left wing back. Say Lisandro Martinez is at left-sided centre-back, and you're chasing a game and you need a goal. I'd absolutely be bringing Luke Shaw in at left wing-back. Absolutely would. Or, if Luke Shaw is at left-sided centre-back and you're chasing a game, bring Lisandro Martinez on and then move Shaw to left wing-back, because the attacking output he gives you on that side is the best in the team. So, I would love to see that. It's just whether Amorim will trust Luke Shaw to play there because of his injury record and because it's a much more taxing position. I would say the wing-back areas, as well as the midfield in that team, is the most taxing position. You're up and down, up and down. You're being asked to come into the midfield. You're being asked to play as a winger. You're being asked to come back and track back and defend. It's a very, very taxing position in a Ruben Amorim system. I know it's once a week, but it's whether Luke Shaw can keep up with that. And he's doing so well in staying fit right now, because usually it'd be 1 or 2 games and then he'd break down. So he's doing so well at keeping fit, it's whether you risk that. Do you remember when Goldbridge said he'd give, I think it was £5,000 to charity if Luke Shaw could stay fit by Christmas Eve? I think that was last year, and he lasted like a few games. He got fit by the end of November, and then he said the same thing again, and he got injured again. I have to get on the phone to Goldbridge and ask him to run it back, because I think he actually has a chance of staying fit now till Christmas Eve, Luke Shaw. So, I mean, he's already raised a lot of money in his charity stream last week. Fantastic amount of money, but it's an interesting topic of conversation, and our back five really could be upgraded if Luke Shaw can do that role when Lisandro Martinez is back. But thank you very much, everyone, for getting your chats in. I'm going to come to it. No way is Leacher left wing back. I'm not saying Leacher play left wing back. I'm saying Leacher left-sided centre back and Luke Shaw left wing back. That's what I said. Hopefully I did say that. That's what I meant anyway. Stuart ESP says let Shaw play for an hour and then let Dorgu take over. He can't do 90 minutes every game. Never mind twice a week if we get a European spot. Yeah, well, this is just for this season. Next year in Europe, I expect Manchester United to go for a left-sided centre-back in the summer and a left wing-back, so there'll be even more competition there then. Honestly, it'll be hard for somebody to be as good as Luke Shaw is, who we bring in the summer. It will be, and I know I'm sounding like Ricky, but it will be hard. But we'll need to find someone, because he's not getting any younger and he has got previous injury problems. But anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts and discussion on Luke Shaw, and I think it's a really good topic to kind of get into and think about. And we could be in a situation that we didn't even really cross our minds too much, where we could massively upgrade our back five just through that little position switch of Luke Shaw and Lisandro Martinez. If they're both playing on form, the left-hand side becomes so much stronger immediately. And then you've got Ahmad and Yoro or Ahmad and Mazraoui on the right-hand side, De Ligt central. It's nice. It's a steady foundation, and you've got the attacking output as well. And Luke Shaw in pre-season did say the manager knows that he prefers to play left wing-back. Luke Shaw said he prefers to play left wing-back. That's his favoured position, and the manager knows this. But he'll play wherever the manager asks him to. He'll do whatever for the team. So Luke Shaw knows that Amorim knows this. So he obviously feels like he can do it. Ndweeba says, can't be prisoners of hope, let Luke go. Anyway, lastly, I want to talk about Adeyemi a little bit and Victor Froholdt. So, Victor Froholdt, Porto talent Victor Froholdt is attracting interest from a host of clubs across Europe. Manchester United are one of those reportedly keen on the 19-year-old Dane. Apparently, Manchester United are keeping close eye on the teenager. The Red Devils see him as someone who can make an immediate impact into the first team, but also adds long-term value. Ruben Amorim's side are expected to face competition from Atletico Madrid, who are also keen. The youngster has a release clause worth €85 million, but the Spanish Giants believe they can sign him for less. The report notes that any negotiations for the midfielder will only start at at least €30 million. Juventus's interest in the player has also been reported, and there is a belief that Froholdt suits Italian clubs' needs in the midfield. So, apparently he's been touted as one of the next big talents to be moved out of Porto. So far this season, he's played 17 times in all competitions. He's contributed 4 goals and started every game in the Portuguese top flight. So it's an interesting one. I'm going to be so honest. I've not heard of him and not watched him play yet because I've not watched Porto this season. So I cannot say too much about this player, but it's seemingly a really, really special 19-year-old midfielder coming out of Porto. He's produced some really good talents in the past. Victor Froholdt, 19 years of age, and Atletico Madrid are looking at him, Juventus are looking at him, and apparently Manchester United are looking at him as well as a long-term midfield option. And apparently he's looking really good over in the Portuguese top flight. Very different playing in the Portuguese league to the Premier League. However, I've said this before, usually players coming in from the Portuguese league tend to adapt quite well to the Premier League. So it's just one to keep an eye on. We're not in advanced negotiations. It's not as if we're suddenly, in advanced talks for Belieber or Anderson or anything like that. But it's an outside of left field young midfielder that I think we'll start to do more of these types of deals with Christopher Vivell at the club, with Jason Wilcox. We're not only looking at Premier League proven talent that's ready to go now, like an Anderson or even a Belieber, if you would put him in that bracket, or an Adam Wharton. We're actually looking at young players that are going to be potential really good players with high ceilings to come into the squad and maybe start out as a squad player but then work their way into the team. We've done it with Diego Leon. He's probably gone in at a little bit of a lower level, and we will continue to do that with multiple players as well. So yeah, just keep an eye on the name Victor Froholdt. I'd have to do a little bit more research into him, but it's interesting for sure. And then last but not least, on Adeyemi. So more news coming out on Adeyemi. He's been talked up a lot with a potential move to Manchester United, and this is what's come out. Manchester United will have to pay £60 million to sign Karim Adeyemi from Borussia Dortmund in the January transfer window. Sources have told Football Insider Adeyemi has been linked with a move to Manchester United amid rumours he's unsettled at the German club. The 23-year-old's Dortmund contract runs until the summer of 2027, but talks over a new deal have stalled. Sources say that it will be difficult for Ruben Amorim to sign the German in January, though, due to his asking price. However, the report adds that United could hold on to Joshua Zirkzee in the winter and then return for Adeyemi at the end of the season, when the German's price tag is likely to drop. What I would say on that is just keep an eye on it. I personally believe that this is Adeyemi trying to get a better contract. That's what I believe. But United have been linked to quite a few forward players recently. Semenyo's one we've been linked to. Adeyemi we've been linked to multiple times now. I really want to ask Ben a little bit more about it on Thursday. I think Adeyemi is a really, really exciting talent. Really exciting talent. Concerns me that he's unsettled at Dortmund and apparently had a few falling outs with his manager. I don't want to go near any players that have had to-dos with managers. I just don't. I want players coming in that have never had a problem, whether it be with managers, with coaches, with other players. I just want hard-working professionals where none of that stuff ever comes out. Honestly, because I'm not saying it's Sancho 2.0. We talked about Sancho earlier on in the show. Adeyemi clearly is a top talent. I mean, if you watch him play, he's so exciting. And I could see him going to a top club and doing really well, and the falling outs with the manager might be absolutely nothing to even look into. However, behaviour is absolutely massive, and it's massive to Ruben Amorim, and we've spoken about it multiple times. You don't want a player that's had any sort of issues at all, especially in the early days. Of course, players can grow up, players can mature, and I'm not comparing him to Yamal, but Yamal's had a few public problems, hasn't he? I mean, not falling outs, but he's had a few public things that have kind of gone around the media. But Yamal's like absolutely out of this world, generational. Adeyemi has got a lot of talent, very, very exciting. But for Manchester United right now, I just wouldn't want to take a risk on a potential dressing room disruptor. And I'm not saying he's going to be that, because like I said, if United signed him, I'd get excited about it because of how talented he is. But a few little things from the past pop up in my mind to think, you know what, really, really good player, but I would avoid that one for now. I'd rather go for the likes of a Semenyo, who has never reportedly had any behavioural problems, never had any fallings outs. I watch him every week working super, super hard for Bournemouth, and I want to go for players that are going to come in and have the Bryan Mbeumo impact. That's where I would like to go. But Adeyemi is definitely a talented player, and I do think Man United will be assessing it because of how good he is and because of the lower price you'll be able to get. For what he can give you in terms of output, the price, if he doesn't agree a new deal, for a 23-year-old of that ability, will be lower than what you would usually have to pay. So that's probably why United are monitoring it, if they are. If not, it's probably links just to try and get a new deal or get improved terms or drum up interest if he wants to leave Borussia Dortmund potentially. I do think there will be interest there because he's clearly got a lot of ability, but for me, it wouldn't be one that I'd be in an absolute rush to go and get the deal done. Sam Brock says, I was banging on about Froholdt in the summer while he was still at FC Copenhagen. He's quality and can run and run. Sam, I know who Froholdt is now. Sam Brocks. I mean, I kind of knew who he was anyway, but I didn't have too much time to look completely into it. I want to look more at this player, but... Oh, yeah. Okay. I've not seen loads of him, but he was at FC Copenhagen and now he's at Porto and he's doing really well. He is a really, really, really interesting prospect, and I like the fact Manchester United are linked to him. So Sam, thank you for reminding me about the Copenhagen, the Copenhagen link. So I'm actually looking at Froholdt now and thinking Manchester United could have serious interest here, especially considering the recruitment team that we have in place. So it's one to watch, and like you said, we need players that can run, and Ruben Amorim has been targeting them during his time so far at Manchester United. Workhorses that can run but also can deliver quality as well. So let's see what happens there, but thank you, Sam, for your contribution. Anyway, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Smash a like on the video if you've not already. Just a quick update to get you through this Tuesday afternoon, but still some really important topics to discuss. Would you want to look more into Victor Froholdt from Porto? Young player that has massive amount of potential. I mean, for the negotiations to start at €30 million for a young midfielder playing for Porto, he's clearly got a lot of potential, and the club clearly believe that his talent is sky high. If that's where they want to start the negotiations, they're with an €85 million release clause. Would you rather go for Adeyemi or would you rather go for Semenyo? If you had to pick one, which one would you do? Elysium's just put that question in the comments. I would love to know your opinion on this, because for me, it is Semenyo all day long, for the reasons I've stated multiple times before. Prem proven, hits the ground running, you know he's got a good personality, you know he works really hard. Manchester United have looked at him before. Ruben Amorim's agreed the transfer before because we tried to negotiate with him back in March 2025 before the summer kicked off. So for me it'd be Semenyo, but I'd like to know what you think. Semenyo because he's experienced in the Premier League. I keep seeing Semenyo. Adeyemi is a good player though. I've seen him quite a few times now and he looks exciting. But also as well, Jadon Sancho, do you think he could leave in January, or do you think it's just more talks for the summer? He's not letting go of that 300 grand a week before the end of the season, I tell you that for a fact. Anyway, I would absolutely be gobsmacked if Jadon Sancho said in January, I'll take a wage cut now. No chance. He's getting that 300 grand a week for as long as he can. Yeah. Anyway, guys, Christmas jumper is linked in the description. Make sure you go and grab it. It is nice and warm for these very cold mornings at the moment. You can really feel that winter chill when you get up now. When you go into your car and you're having to defrost it and you're thinking, it's cold outside, that's when you need your winter jumper, and we can get in the Christmas spirit. I can't wait for all the teams to kind of have them on, and hopefully you can wear them on a few match days as well. And as well, remember, Bundesliga and That's Football brings you Mainz versus Hoffenheim, not Hoppenheim. So That's Football and Bundesliga brings you Mainz versus Hoffenheim, 7:15 stream for a 7:30 kickoff on Friday night. So make sure you are there. Live game. You see the game play out live on your screens with Goldbridge commentating and watching along with you. You do not want to miss it. We keep being linked to players in the Bundesliga, and there's a track record at the moment with a lot of Bundesliga players coming over to the Premier League, so it's really good to kind of get an eye on them early in these watch-alongs that we do Friday nights for Bundesliga games. So will there be anyone that takes your fancy in Mainz versus Hoffenheim? You never know. Might be the next Angelo Stiller that you want to go and look at. Angelo Stiller of Stuttgart. You might find the next talent there, so make sure you go and tune in. Smash like on the video. Thank you everyone for watching and all of your support for the morning show and the 2 p.m. show. I greatly appreciate it. I know people are missing Goldbridge, but hopefully you've got your fix with me today. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you on the next one.